Welcome to Dorset. Today we're at Winspit. We're here for sunrise. Great to see you all again. Thank you so much for joining me. Just look behind me. It's all going to kick off this morning. We've got some fantastic cloud. It's about an hour till sunrise already, and it just looks fantastic. Hopefully, fingers crossed, we're going to get some amazing shots and possibly a few seascapes. The tide's quite high at Winspit today, a lot higher than I'd normally shoot. It does look much better in low tide, but I couldn't turn down the chance to be here today, and being on this particular location gives us scope for a good 180 degrees of compositions. So it works quite in our favour. The sun is going to come up directly in front of us, but what I'm hoping is it's going to illuminate just to the side of me here and give us some nice, decent detail on the cliff side. So it should make a really, really good picture. But I'm going to start taking a couple before that colour clears. It's a really challenging way to shoot this morning. We've got a very, very bright centre spot just out here, but what we're going to do, we're trying to angle slightly to the left to look towards the cliff. That way we get a little bit less of the bright sun as it comes up and a bit more of the foreground interest. As you can see behind me, the sky looks fantastic. It's really going off this morning, so hopefully we're going to get some decent shots. Winspit's an old abandoned quarry down on the Jurassic coast. It's just a beautiful location. It can be a little bit rough and that on the sea, so you do have to be very careful down here, but it's a fantastic place to shoot. It does involve a little bit of a scramble coming down a cliff to get here as well, so it's not one for the faint-hearted, but it is well worth it once you're here. Not really getting too much of a chance to do pieces to camera at the moment because I'm desperately trying to take pictures while the conditions are still this good. So you have to bear with me. We'll have a bit more of a chat later on. It's an absolutely spectacular morning up there. I just can't get over how good these conditions are. It's just mind-blowing. When you come down to one of these places and you get a scene like this, there's just no words really, is there? I'm so pleased you could join me to see this for yourself this morning. Winspit's not a wonderfully well-known venue. It certainly is. It does have its popular times, but it's not so much for landscape photography. It's very, very popular for people coming down to explore the caves in this area that are left over from the days when it was mined for stone. Some fantastic, interesting structures up here. Maybe we'll get a chance to have a look at those later on. But at the moment, we're just too busy just trying to catch this fantastic sunrise. It's just superb. What we're trying to do today is we're doing a bit of a semi-long exposure. We're not using any sort of 6-stop or 10-stop filters. We're just using the available light, and it's given us a good exposure time of around about 10 seconds first thing. But obviously, as the sun comes up, that's going to reduce. What we're going to try and do as well is, as the sun comes up in the centre of the frame here, we're going to turn our attention to the cliff edge here. So we're going to try and avoid shooting directly into the sun, but we're going to use the light on the cliff edge itself. So it should illuminate it, show all the fine detail that's in there on this old quarry, and it should look absolutely fantastic. That's the plan anyway, but you just never know what that sky's going to do. As I say, this is a venue I would generally shoot at lower tide because there's a lot more features available, but high tide has its place here. Tide getting a little too high. You do have to be careful at this particular location. The tide is very, very unpredictable, but we're a good 4 or 5 feet off the sort of sea level at the moment here because we're stood on the rocks and the tide is at its highest point. So we're not in any danger, but it is something to bear in mind. If you're shooting down on the lower ledges, you do need to be really, really careful. The tide can really catch you out. It's a very, very shallow shelf as it goes out onto the water. So the tide rushes in a lot quicker and than you'd expect, and it does catch a lot of people out. So you do need to be really, really careful here. What we're going to do, once the sunlight has come up, we're actually going to climb up onto this little rock stack just over the back here, and we're going to shoot to the side so we can capture all the nice side light. And the sea stack up there does make a particularly nice foreground. It looks like quite a brutal climb, but it's actually not too bad. Once you've hopped over a few rocks, it's a very, very easy slope straight up. So it's not too bad at all, but it does look really nice there. But at the moment, whilst we've got some good light and good colour, we're going to concentrate at sea level and try and maximise our chances down here. The sun's just starting to rise right now. It's literally just breaching the surface. So I'm hopeful that any minute we might get some nice light on our cliff edges here. We've also got another cliff edge just behind us. So we've got good 180-degree views and we're able to rotate and get whichever looks best. But we don't want to leave it too late before we go up onto the rock stacks. We want to get the best available light if we can. Yeah, the colour didn't really last too long, but now at least we started to get that beautiful morning light just on the rocks themselves. The rocks right behind me here, they're lighting up quite nicely, and we're just waiting for it to catch on this cliff here. Obviously, we're exposed a little bit darker, so you can't quite see it yet, but trust me, it's glowing up a little bit now already, so it looks good. Winspit's an absolutely fantastic location. It's not as well known as some of the others, but that's what makes it really, really great. You don't get hundreds of people down here. It's just a beautiful place to be. You know, really, really typical of the Jurassic coast. Hard, craggy limestone everywhere, big fierce sea. You know, there's a lot of swell down here. Doesn't matter if it's windy or not. There's always, you know, a good heavy swell on the sea. It's just a fantastic place to be, really. Well, I'm going to try and make the most of it and try and get another couple of pictures, see if we can nail a few here. Where we're at the moment, there's only really one or two compositions that we can go for. It's a lot different when the tide's lower. You've got almost infinite compositions here, but we are somewhat limited today. But as I say, we're going to try and go up the cliff edge later on and see if we can get a couple of frames from there as well. As it happens though, we've started the day well. We've got some good images. I'm pleased with them. I think it's going to have been a reasonable shoot, and I think I've got something nice to show you at the end of it. Okay, well, we've moved now. I just couldn't resist that rock stack and the light that was beaming over on those cliffs. So I darted up here quick, and I've got a couple of frames I'm really, really pleased with. Caught it just before the light went. As you can see now, it's not got quite so much light on there. It's not as intense as earlier on, but you know, we moved quickly. We managed to get the shot, and I'm really, really pleased we did. It's going a little bit nondescript now, and you know, pretty much the morning colour's over. The light's not quite so good. It's gone behind a little bit of cloud now, so I feel like we've had the best of it. And you know, we adapted quickly. We moved around, and it really did make the difference, I feel, and scored us a couple of extra shots here. But we're going to hang around a little while longer because there is still some light about, and I do think that it will clear the clouds and we'll get a little bit more. But it's not going to be that golden morning light that we had first thing this morning, which was just superb, and I'm so pleased we got that. The Jurassic Coast, it's no wonder it's such a popular area. I mean, it is stunning. There's just so much to shoot here. It's just a beautiful, beautiful place. I mean, it's got a rugged beauty. It's very, very raw, and I think that's why I just love it here so much. But yeah, as I say, I've you know, had a big period of time away from the Jurassic Coast. I spent a lot of time in the countryside shooting there, so it's so nice to be back and doing a couple of bits. And I'm even more pleased that I can share it with you guys, and you can see maybe a few venues that you've not heard of before, or you know, somewhere a little bit different. Obviously, I'm sure at some point we'll hit the classics, Durdle Door, etc. But for the time being, I'm just enjoying being back in my favourite areas, and Winspit Bottom, it's certainly pretty much right at the top there. The limestone on these cliffs looks absolutely fantastic in morning light. It just absolutely glows with gold. It's just superb. The Jurassic Coast is pretty much full of this stone, and it's, you know, as you can see behind me, it's been heavily mined, but it's just left some fantastic structures here. And as I say, there's caves as you go round further into Winspit. It's just a beautiful, beautiful area. I'll stick a couple of pictures up. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. Well, there's nothing better after a great session than just taking a sit back down, enjoying everything around you and just watching the landscape, sitting back, reflecting on the day's events or the morning's events and just enjoying it. I don't need to tell you guys, if you're a landscape photographer and you're watching this, you just know the feeling. You know, if you're not a landscape photographer and you're watching it, I hope this conveys the feeling and the emotion that you get when you're out here and it all goes off like that. It's just no better feeling. The effort that goes into these mornings is nothing short of staggering. You know, the early starts, sometimes it's like a 2 a.m. start for us. Sometimes it's a bit later in the winter, sort of 5:30. You might be doing it before work, but there's so much effort goes into this and just to get that picture. And part of the most important part of it for me is don't get too wrapped up in the picture, enjoy the moment and feed off that. The pictures will just come naturally. These are the good times and it's easy to show you these and be really, really excited, buzz in and, you know, present it. It doesn't always go that way. A lot of the time, you know, we'll come out and conditions won't go our way. There'll be no sunrise, no sunset, the light won't be there. And, you know, you don't come away with a picture. But the main thing to take from it is just to enjoy the experience, to be outside. And, you know, the picture, it should be a byproduct of this. It shouldn't be the be all end all. That shouldn't be, you know, the sole reason for going. You know, once you connect with your environment, I think it really, really gives you a better enjoyment of all of this, and you just, the picture becomes almost like secondary, and consequently you generally you find pictures because you see the landscape in a different way. You know, you see beauty in dark moody clouds, for example, you know, rain clearing, it can be anything, but you know, just connect with the landscape a little bit more and enjoy that, and the photography will all just come naturally, I think. Of course, it's easy for me to say this. We've been very, very lucky today. You know, we've had some great light, had some great sunrise colour, but like I say, it doesn't always go that way. And, you know, I'm sure you'll see a few of the struggles along the way, but today was a good one. We did well. Thanks so much to everyone who's tuned in for this one. I really, really do appreciate it. And, you know, I love hearing from you guys. So please do leave a comment. Let me know what you thought of Winspit and how we did on the pictures. And if you enjoyed the content, please do give it a like. It really does make all the difference to the channel and really helps it out. If you're a subscriber, thank you so much. And if you're not a subscriber, please do consider subscribing. I'll see you next time. Take care.